Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Toni and I'm a homeschooling mom to 4 kids. And we're talking today all about the power of incentives for kids. Now, I was kind of tempted to call this video why it's okay to bribe your kids, but it didn't quite have the same ring to it. We're basically talking about the same thing. Bribes, incentives, rewards, why these are important for kids. We're going to talk about the reasons behind doing this, why it's okay to do this, and some specific incentives that have worked for me and my kids from when they were teeny tiny little ones all the way up until now as upper elementary and junior high homeschoolers. So if you guys want to find out what has worked for us and why using incentives can be really, really powerful, then stay tuned. Okay, so the first 2 things that we're going to talk about are the 2 top reasons why incentives can be so powerful. First thing is motivation. If you want your kids to be motivated to do something, to do chores, to do their schoolwork, to pick up their toys, to, I don't know, be nice, to read, to all kinds of stuff, anything that you really want them to do and accomplish, sometimes they need motivation. Now, you could be a parent who just says, go do this, and then your kids listen. That would be wonderful. In my life, reality is, they need a push. And so I really do think it helps to have some sort of motivation to work towards. My kids don't get incentive or a reward for every single thing they need to do. Like just this morning, my kids did all their chores. They did the dishes. They cleaned up the living room. Our house looks great right now. They didn't actually get anything for it, and that's fine. So they don't always have to have a reward, but there are times where you feel like they need an extra push to get something done, and it can be such a great thing. As adults, I think I work better sometimes when I know that there's some sort of reward at the end or some sort of incentive. When there is a reward at the end, it can encourage you and it's exciting. So the first thing is just motivation, just to do something, just to get done what you need to get done. Now, the second thing that is a great reason for doing incentives, to be successful at working towards a goal. Sometimes it's exciting to just reach the goal and then that's it. But sometimes if you reach that goal and you know there's a reward at the end, it just makes it easier to work hard and push through the hard times to get to that goal. You know, like in working out, as a mom, you know, if you set a goal that you want to get in shape, and the second you step on that treadmill for the first time, or you try to get up early to go work out, or you go to a class, or you watch a video or whatever, and the pain starts to come, or you realize I forgot how to breathe and this is really hard. If there's no goal or end in sight or reward, why would you stick with it? And it is hard. And sometimes even when there is a goal for working out, that is a struggle for me, because a lot of times that difficult, hard, painful part is just, if you're not strong enough to push through, you give up. And we don't want that in our kids. You can see how hard that is even just as a mom. Like with working out, a lot of us probably struggle with staying in shape, and it's easier to go get fast food than to get everything out and make a homemade meal. If you've got this goal, this end in sight to be a healthy mom for your kids or whatever your goal is, it's a lot easier to keep going in the hard times, in the middle, in the thick of it, when things are challenging, if you know that you've got a goal to reach towards. And you know there's a prize at the end. If your prize is the pretty dress that you accidentally bought in the wrong size and it's hanging in your closet, that's your prize at the end. You can fit in that dress. You guys all know what motivation and you know what working towards a goal can do. Guess what? It works just the same for our kids. I'm gonna give you some examples right now of some incentives that have worked for us over the years that you might wanna try out, or you may have done these too. So let's talk about these. So the first one, starting at the teeny tiny little age of potty training, which could be anywhere from 2 to 6 to who knows how old your kid is. Potty training is hard. It is hard work, isn't it? I always had some sort of incentive, some sort of bribe, but some sort of incentive for my kids. If you go pee on the potty, you get this. And so for my first daughter, we had a sticker chart, and she had this chart on the wall. She was satisfied just putting a sticker on that sticker chart and filling it up. And she was so proud of her little chart next to her little potty, and she did great. Oh my word, the girls were so easy to potty train, so easy. Boys, we'll talk about that in a minute. just having sticker charts, that worked for me. We also had different times where I had those little tiny mini marshmallows, like what's in Lucky Charms. At our stores down here, we have like bulk food stores, and they sell just the marshmallows. So I put those in a jar in the bathroom, and every single time they peed successfully, they got a little marshmallow, and it worked really well. We also did M&Ms. I will tell you, one of my daughters, I can't remember if it's my oldest or my middle daughter, but one of them learned to work the system really, really fast, because she would pee a little bit and then she'd get an M&M, and we'd go to the living room, and then she'd say she has to pee again. So I'd take her and she'd pee again. She'd get an M&M, and we're like, yay. And then we'd go, and a minute later she'd have to pee again. She learned if I just pee a little bit and I like hold it, that I can have lots of M&Ms. So she was one that I had to kind of work and tweak things a little bit, but so you got to be careful with that. Don't let them work the system. But hey, I have 4 kids that are successfully potty trained, so it worked. Pooping is another story. I'm just gonna say it. That can be more difficult for some kids. The boy is the one that I would say is the hardest. I didn't think I was like, he's gonna be like a senior in high school and he's never gonna be potty trained. It really wasn't that bad. My girls were like 2 when they were potty trained, and he was not. He was older. But we'd successfully potty trained with peeing, but I could not get him poop in the potty. Anyway, so his incentive, I bought him this police car that had all the lights and sirens and all this stuff that he really, really wanted. It was in the box, sitting on the back of the toilet for a couple weeks. And he wasn't allowed to play with it. He wasn't allowed to take it out of the box. It just sat there. And he knew he could earn it. It's incentive if you poop on the potty. So finally, he was successful. He was able to take the toy out of the box and play with it, and everybody was happy. I needed a big incentive. M&Ms were not doing it for him. So sometimes you need a bigger incentive for different kids. So potty training, definitely. You guys have probably all done that. I don't know how you would get your kids to want to potty train with no sort of reward. There might be some kid out there that would do it without, but that is huge. Okay, the second thing that we've gone through is thumb suckers. I have 2 thumb suckers. I had 2 thumb suckers, and when they were little and they'd gotten to the age where we really needed to stop, we had an incentive, a bribe. And I told my daughter, who was a thumb sucker, I was like, we've really got to stop this. And you know what? If you can stop sucking your thumb, we will take you to whatever restaurant you want. You can invite whoever you want to invite, and we'll have a big party. And that worked for her. It was like, once I told her that was the incentive, it really only took a few days, and she was just done. She was ready. So she said she wanted to go to IHOP. That was her favorite restaurant at the time. And she wanted Mimi and Grandpa and great grandma and her uncle, and they all came. And we had a big lunch celebrating that she stopped sucking her thumb. And I have pictures, and it was just so sweet and so fun. That wasn't that much. It didn't cost us much, but it got her out of this habit that was really hard to break. So if you reward your kids for doing things that they need to do, or you have that incentive set up there that they know if they do what they need to do, they can work towards it, it is just such a good motivator. So chores, I just did a video recently. I will link that up above. I did a video on chores and motivating kids to do chores. And I told you guys, I am not above bribing my kids to do chores. It's really just, giving them some sort of motivation to do it, an incentive. So I've done different things over the years. I had a little container on the fridge, this little magnetic container that we would put these plastic coins in. If they did a good job with their chores that day, they got coins, and whoever was the first one to fill up their container got to go on a mommy date. And that is a huge thing. That doesn't cost a whole lot, because sometimes it was ice cream, sometimes it was we go to the store, who knows? They don't care as long as they get that one-on-one time. So mommy dates were a great thing. I also had a chore chart recently where if they filled up the whole chart, they get $1. That was a really good motivation, because I don't give them money for much of anything. So I told them if they fill the chart up, they get $1. So that was a good incentive to work on it. And I didn't give $1 to those who didn't do their chores, but I did give $1 to the one who did do her chores, that kind of thing, who did most of them. We own an inn and we clean it. We don't have cleaning people or anything. It's just on us. And there've been times where it was, needed extra help. It wasn't something I felt like I could do on my own. So sometimes the whole family will help, or the kids will come, just the girls will come help me make beds. And that's a really, annoying part, to have to make the beds perfectly and all that. So usually we've done 2 different things. If they help me clean the inn, I take them to the store. They love going to the thrift store, and I will buy something. They can pick something out and I buy it for them because there's a thrift store right down the road from our inn, and that's a super fun thing for them. The other thing is eating out. That's not something we do all the time. So if they help, they do a really great job cleaning the inn, then instead of us cooking dinner, it's a reward for mom too, because instead of me having to cook dinner, we get to eat out. So we either order from like a pizza shop, or we get something close near us where we're not like spending tons and tons of money. We're not going to Red Lobster or something, but we just get a nice reward of having a yummy dinner out. So it doesn't have to be a huge thing, but it's a reward and it's a thank you for them working hard. It would be great to pay them, here's $10 for working, but I can't always do that. So this works, and it encourages them and it motivates them to be willing to do the hard stuff. I don't know if you guys have ever had a kid who was difficult in the store. My girls were angels in the stores. I have 3 girls, complete angels. I think there's one time in the 12 years that I have had girls that one of them embarrassed me in the store, and I stopped in the aisle we were in and spanked her a little bit, and never had a problem since then. My son is a different story. He's one of those kids that like, I always would see these other parents in the store and be like, oh man, her kids are out of control. Well, I have one of those now. Great. So I have had to give incentives or bribes to get him through a store sometimes, especially the last couple years. There's a store that when we go in to get lunch meat, it's an Amish like bulk food store, so everybody's quiet and it's a quiet store. And then he acts crazy and he likes to push his sisters and be loud and annoying stuff. Well, they have cow tails. I don't know if you've had cow tails, but those little like caramel candy things with like cream in the middle. It's like his favorite thing in the world. They have a container of cow tails at the register. So almost every time I will say, if you guys are good in the store, and it's not just him, because he will egg on somebody else, and then that kid will mess back with him, and then, it can be multiples. But I'm like, if you guys can be good in the store, you can each pick out a cow tail. They're like 33 cents a piece or something like that. So it's like, it doesn't cost much, but it's something for them to work towards. And there have been a handful of times that nobody got anything because he misbehaved in the store or something like that. But a lot of times I get them a cow tail when we leave. And it's just a small thing, but it's something tangible that they can work towards. Make sure they're good. Make sure he's good in the store. Now, some of you might be thinking, she's ridiculous. Why does she do this? It works for me. I really don't think it's that big of a deal. And sometimes you're desperate. Have you ever been desperate where you feel like I have to get through this store anyway? It's not a fun feeling. And sometimes you just have to do what you got to do. So if you have to bribe with a little toy to get through the store and keep mom sane, then do it. So that is something I don't do that in every store we go in, but it works. You got to do what you got to do. Another one that probably all of us do. If you're a homeschool mom, how many times have you said to your kids, it's a beautiful day outside. If we finish up our school day, you guys can go play outside. Like, that's not costing anything, but that's an incentive. Work hard and you get to play outside. If you take all afternoon, the sun's going to go down. You're not going to get to play outside. That is an incentive. That is a great, great thing. And that is such a fun thing for kids to look forward to. I guarantee most of you have probably already done that. But that's an incentive. That is a powerful incentive to get to go play outside after you're done with your schoolwork. The sooner you're done, the more time you have outside. So that is huge. Another thing, now that we're getting into my kids getting older and reading, we've gone through waves of really exciting for reading and can't put a book down and they're always reading. And we've gone through some of those valleys that are, when was the last time you read in your free time? I never see you reading. That is something that I am okay with giving an incentive or a reward or a bribe. If you finish a chapter book, you get this. So one of the ones we did recently, a few months ago, I said, every time you finish a chapter book, I'll give you $1. And one of my kids got quite a few dollars. She kept reading chapter books. She liked to read anyway, but she had gone through that, like just, she'd rather, be on her tablet, or she'd rather go downstairs and play or whatever. She had that thing to look forward to. Hey, I get $1. All I have to do is read a book. And then some of the other girls, when they didn't feel like reading, they didn't get the $1. They could see that, man, I'm missing out. All I have to do is read a book and I get $1. So that was a really easy one. Now, I'm going to share with you this new incentive that I just came up with that started last night, And I'm so excited about this. And I wanted to share with you guys because I think you might want to use this too. If you have any kids who are either reluctant readers or they're just in a slump where they just don't feel like reading. So let me show you what I have. So this is my new challenge that I just started for my kids last night. This is a very powerful incentive. I'm so excited and I really hope this is a success. I got a whole pack of these little library cards. Have you guys ever seen these before? It's a books read list. So but they look like the old library cards that you would have in the back of a book, you know, when we were kids. So you put the kid's name on the top. I already wrote their names on here. So you've got the kid's name on the top. And then every time they read a book, they write the title, the number of pages, and then the date that they finished the book. I'm gonna link these in the description box below. If you wanna do this with your kids, these are so cheap and it comes with a huge pack. So I've used these before where my daughter just kept track of the books that she read, but I was like, okay, this is gonna be great incentive. First of all, this is a perfect bookmark to sit in their book. Each of them has their own. I'm doing it with them because I have gotten to where life has been so busy that I haven't been reading very much either. And when I do have free time, I'm so exhausted. So I just lay down and I usually watch something or whatever. I am going to try to read too. So I have one too. There's 8 spots on the front of each card and then 8 spots on the back. So I said, as soon as you read 8 chapter books, and this is going to depend on the kid's age and level of reading, you know, you just decide where they're at, you know, you like my oldest daughter is not going to be allowed to read a comic book, you know, that's not going to count. So they have to read a book that's on their level. As soon as they read 8 books, they get to go on thriftbooks.com, which I love, and pick out whatever book that they want. And their books are cheap. This is not a sponsored video. I just love thrift books. It's really cheap. If you can't get to a bookstore or, you know, whatever. A lot of times we'll just pick books from the thrift store, but they love getting stuff in the mail. Everybody loves getting stuff in the mail. And so I told them, if you finish, get your 8 chapter books read whenever. If it takes you 3 weeks, then great. If it takes you 2 months, great. Whatever it takes you, as soon as you read those 8 books, you get to go on Thrift Books, pick out a book that you want. We will order. Most of their books are like $3, $4, you know, for a used book. When they're done with that, and they start on the back. And then once they fill this back side up, they get to get another book from Thrift Books. I will link these in the description box. I think this would be a fun thing for you guys to do with us because I think it's just going to excite us to do reading. And it's a physical thing that they're going to stick in their book as their bookmark. And then every day that they pull their bookmark out, they can see, oh, I've only read 2 books. I need to keep plugging away and read a little bit faster. So they were really excited about this challenge and I was really excited too. So I'm gonna try to do it too. I said, I'm gonna order a book from Thrift Books when I finish mine too. And 8 books sounds like a lot, but I didn't want to make it like, oh, every time you read a book, because that's a little too much. You know, I wanna push them to do more. I definitely think reading, having some sort of incentive for reading, I really wanna spur on the excitement for reading and not just say, okay, you all need to go get a book and sit down and read for 1 hour. Or even 30 minutes. Like when I have them read during school, it's always like, oh, I gotta read for 30 minutes. But if they went to just read on their own, for some reason, it's just more fun. They don't like being told you have to go read. This is gonna excite them to be able to do it on their own, initiate it themselves. They're in charge of their own schedule and making sure they're reading as much as they can. So this is a bunch of different ways that incentives can be really, really powerful in raising your kids. I really don't think that it's a bad thing to bribe your kids, to give them a reward. We all love getting something in exchange for doing something else. It just makes the hard work worth it. Don't beat yourself up if you do give prizes and give rewards and give incentives and just have a set thing that helps you get through this and encourages your kids. And then they're eventually just gonna take off on their own and just own it. But it's a good way to get them going. I don't give my kids treats for going potty anymore, you know? But it got them going. It's just a good start. Even with reading, we're not gonna need to do this for the rest of our lives, but it's gonna get them excited again, and then they're hopefully gonna be devouring books. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope that this helped you and just encouraged you to be a better mom, to be a better homeschool mom. If you're a homeschool mom, just do the best you can. You know, we're always doing the best we can. Yes, I feel like a failure sometimes, but I'm gonna keep trying. And even just coming up with this little idea here, it just made me feel like, okay, I can do this. I'm gonna keep plugging away and I'm gonna figure out how to do this the best I can. So I hope that you guys can too. Leave me a comment and let me know what kind of incentives work in your family. Maybe you have some great ideas that can help me and some of my other viewers here. I would love to hear from you guys. And if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. That is always an encouragement to me. And if you're not yet subscribed, don't forget to do that. Click that little notification bell so you're notified every time one of my videos comes out. I'm always here sharing homeschooling life, mom life, thrifty life, and I'm here every single week. So make sure you click that bell so you're notified when those videos come out. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.